All right. I see we have some people logging in. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. We are a global audience, so I know we're hitting all over the world today. As you log in, as is tradition, with our product club sessions, if you can go ahead and quick add your introduction into the chat, that'd be great. We'd love to see who's joining us today and where you're from. Welcome, everyone. Wow, we're getting a good crowd right at the start. Thank you all for joining us here. As I mentioned, as is tradition, if you can go ahead and jump in the chat and share your introduction, that would be wonderful. I'd love to see who's here today. Also, if you already have some questions that you're really eager to ask about generative recorder and resilient automation, we do have our Q&A button at the top as well, so feel free to start jumping in and adding those questions too. We'll get started in a short minute here. Thank you, everyone. Oh, look at, got Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Texas, Mexico City, Indianapolis, Virginia. Anybody catch the eclipse yesterday? That was in North America. I know that was a big thing yesterday, especially over in Texas. Hello, everyone. Welcome, UK, Poland. I'm seeing a lot of familiar names too. Thank you, everyone, for joining us again. It's so great to have you back. Wow, we have a very strong Pennsylvania contingency today. Pennsylvania strong. India. All right. As you're jumping in, again, please feel free to share your introduction in the chat. We'd love to get to know you, where you're coming from. I know we have a very global audience today. I'm also going to go ahead and jump into the chat and share our Pathfinder news links like I've been doing. Again, these links are going to get you access to all of the Pathfinder updates that we have currently in our community. There are a lot of good things in motion, so definitely feel free to check these out as we let everyone log in. We'll get started very shortly. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes. Again, welcome everyone. It's so great to have you all here today. Very excited for this topic. It's been some fun innovations happening on the Automation Anywhere side that we can't wait to share with you today. Ooh, another Mexico, South Africa. Wow, welcome. Sweden. Oh, this is so fun. I love this. Thank you, everyone. India for jumping in. All right, and just a quick reminder for those that are just jumping in, I did share those Pathfinder news links. I know that sometimes our chat can get funky as you're logging in, so I'll be sure to reshare those as well once we get started to make sure you have them. Just a few quick announcements as people are logging in. I do want to really especially highlight that first bullet under Pathfinder News. We have new training that is release aligned. It's our Delta training offering. We have some really, really cool new mini courses. These are action-packed small courses, hands-on. So please, please, please check them out to make sure you're in the loop on all of our latest innovations. We'll have our .32 release training coming out as well. We have a developer meetup happening on the 28th on API tasks. So a lot of you had attended our API task product club session. We're going to be doing another deep dive on API tasks out at that developer meetup on the 28th. So be sure to sign up for that. That's in our community events page. We also have our user groups happening right now. So definitely check out our user groups. We have some really cool stories being shared by several of our customers. And it's a great opportunity to also connect with everybody here on this call as well again. And then of course, Product Club, our May session is coming up. Our May session is going to be on Connector Builder, which is related to that API task conversation. So definitely make sure you're signed up. One thing on the signups for Product Club and user groups, it's a one-time sign up now. That was something you had all requested. I just want to sign up one time and then get reminders as the sessions happen, so that is available. So if you've signed up for this session, you're already signed up for the next session, and you'll get notification of that event as we get closer. All right. I don't want to waste any more time because we have an action-packed session happening today. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in. Right before I dive in, though, I just want to share again those Pathfinder news links, so you do have them handy for anybody that may have joined after we shared them. Again, as people are logging in, please continue to share your introductions. Just a few quick reminders, all of our sessions are recorded, so this recording will be available after this session. We do a nice recap that we'll post in the community. Another reminder, our chat is open for both questions and peer collaboration. Just a quick clarification though, because we want to make sure this is as easy as possible for everyone. Please use the chat for any type of collaborative conversation, any type of feedback. And then please use the Q&A section for any types of questions. We'd really like to keep our questions in the Q&A and as organized as possible to make sure we get you answers. And then of course, feedback is a gift. You'll receive a short survey at the end of this session. We'd love for you to complete it. All right, as we jump into one of my favorite parts of the event, which is our product leader sizzle, we do have a poll question to get us started. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this poll question, and then we'll take some time to get to know our product leaders and then dive into the content of today. So if you guys don't mind, we'd love to kind of get a pulse check on your current understanding of generative recorder and resilient automation. Where do you stand in your current understanding? We'd love to know because that will be really helpful as we have our conversations today. All right, so as that poll is being completed, let's get to the fun here. Let's get to know our product leaders. Rajendra, I'm going to start with you.
Sure.
And we'll pass the mic. Can you go ahead and share a little bit about what's your current role at Automation Anywhere?
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, team. I'm Rajendra Vijay, part of product management team here, Director Product Management. Been with the company for close to 9 years, currently leading recorder and package manager modules.
All right, Murali.
Hi, good morning, good evening, everyone. This is Murali Pallikonda. I'm the Principal Product Manager at Automation Anywhere. I've been here for 7+ years, and my main area of focus includes device management, bot agent, and automation deployments. And I'm very happy to be here to showcase our new features.
Perfect. All right, Murali, I'm coming back to you. We're going to switch it up. When you were young, what was your dream job? What did you want to be when you grew up?
I'm not sure. I don't remember actually, but yeah, I want to be an engineer for sure. So I became a computer science engineer.
Okay, perfect. Rajendra?
Oh, no engineering for me. I wanted to be a businessman, wanted to set up a small manufacturing plant.
Okay, interesting. It's been really fun. We've seen a few trending things and you both said something new. So I'm excited to add it to the list. All right. What is the best piece of career advice you've ever received? Rajendra.
Yeah, it's always think long-term, play the long game.
All right. Audience, I want to hear what advice you've been shared that's really stuck out. Add it to the chat. I want to hear some of the business advice. I think we can all use it right now. Murali.
I think the best advice I got is keep investing in yourself. Actually, that pays long term. Yeah.
I love that. That's really important, and it's sometimes something you forget to do too, but it's so important in your career journey.
Definitely.
All right. Now it's time for the fun. This is always one of my favorite parts, the fun part. Okay, if there was one food you had to pick that you would eat for the rest of your life, what would it be? Murali, we're going to start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of things. I mean, but I think if I had to pick one, probably maybe chicken biryani is my one of the favorites. I will go with that.
Okay, Rajendra?
I'd go with another Indian food that is rajma chawal.
Okay, I love this. Okay, we have a very global audience, so I'm very curious. If there was one food that you had to eat for the rest of your life, what would it be? Let's add it to the chat. I want to see what kind of things pop up and some things that might inspire me to try too. I'm a big taco girl, so I would have tacos, breakfast tacos, lunch tacos, dinner tacos, all the chicken tenders too. Jason, you just inspired me there too. Got some spaghetti, lots of great things being added to the chat. All right, so without further ado, I do want to dive in today. We are going to be discussing generative recorder and resilient automation. Lots of great things to chat about today. So Rajendra, I'm going to hand the mic over to you as you get started. We do have another poll question, which I'll go ahead and deploy now. Mic over to you though.
Sure, thank you. I'm sharing my screen. Alison, can you confirm if you can see it?
I do see it.
And I'll also stop sharing video so that audience can see the full screen.
Perfect. We'll all do that.
And we are going to cover a lot of things today. But before we do that, a safe harbor statement. Some of those things which you are going to see are roadmap items. So please do not make any purchase decisions based on that. Now, with that, let's get started with Automator AI, which is our brand new offering for all of our public cloud customers. It has products for the entire SDLC cycle. So right from process discovery to automation design and development to automation testing, and finally for production support and change management. We have products for each one of these stages. Autopilot and smart automation testing are in roadmap, but Copilot for automators and suggest next action is something that is already available to all of our customers. And next is generative recorder, which is what we are going to focus on today. I'm very excited to share that finally this innovation is going to be available to our customers in this month. We are releasing it with A.32 cloud release. And with this, we are addressing two of the most important use cases that we hear from our customers. One is about upgrade of web applications, which typically break UI-based automations. And secondly, when citizen developers are automating applications which have, say, dynamic elements, then these automations typically break on another developer's machine or they break in higher environment. And they cause outage for the automation program, and all of the developers, they spend a lot of time troubleshooting the problems, and this leads to poor developer productivity. So with generative recorder, you will see progress on both of these based on the preview customers data. We have had some 25 plus customers in the preview program, and we have seen almost 50% success rate for the automation failures, which can be addressed by generative recorder. Last thing that I want to share is with generative recorder, you can also automatically update the automations to better adapt to changing business applications. And I'm going to show you a quick demo on how this is all going to look like. So without wasting further time on the slides and all, let's directly jump into this demo, which I'm going to show now. And in this demo, we will start with Priya, who is a reception clerk at the distribution center of a large retailer. Bria receives goods from the suppliers, and for any undelivered goods, Bria has to cancel the order in her company CRM system. Then we will take a look at Sue's journey. Sue is going to use generative recorder to improve the resiliency of automation. And finally, we'll go and take a look at Jake's journey. And Jake is going to get this end-to-end visibility into any decisions which are powered by generative AI. So let's get started into the product demo now. This is the screen that Bria sees. This is our SAP application, and inside SAP application, Bria has our automation copilot, using which she can directly trigger processes. So in this case, she will trigger order cancellation process to cancel the order for supplier. So first thing that she will do is she will select the name of the supplier for which the order needs to be cancelled, and she will submit. This will trigger an API task which will fetch the outstanding orders for that supplier. Let's wait for the orders to show up, and now orders are here. Bria can submit the order that she wants to cancel, and once Bria does that, this triggers an RPA task again, which is going to run on this remote machine. And this is going to log in into Salesforce and cancel the order that Bria selected. Now this RP task is going to log in. And it is going to search for that order in Salesforce. But in this case, since Salesforce was recently upgraded, this is going to run into a failure. This is going to not work because some of the underlying properties of the search box that you see are changed. And this is where the automation fails. Now we have seen this happen a lot with our customers when these cloud applications, when they upgrade, these break UI-based automations, which are dependent on the properties of those UI elements. Now let us go and see how generative recorder can help address this problem. So what we will do is, what we'll do is we will go and check out this automation. which was performing the RPA task part, and I'll just refresh it. This is here, and I'll just enable the generative recorder part resiliency for this using advanced settings. And as you can see, there are two types of settings that we are introducing. These are two fallback options offered by generative recorder. First is native fallback, which uses some of the design time data to provide the fallback in the event of failure. And second is generative AI powered fallback, which uses live application data to offer the fallback. And while doing that, we ensure that absolutely none of the business data from your business application leaves your data center. So this is fully secure. I'm sharing this because we got a lot of questions around this area. We have taken care of all of the security and privacy aspects. For this demo, let's turn on generative AI-based fallback. And as you can see, both of these options are completely optional for the developer. So on a need basis, developers can turn it on or off for selected automations. Let us save this and we'll close it. All I did was I turned on the resiliency and then I'll check in this automation. And now let us run the same process, order cancellation process again. And before we do that, I just want to ensure that okay, this is done. My Salesforce, I just want to log out from the Salesforce because this is where I'm going to start again from the login screen. So I'll close this and let us run the same order cancellation process again. I'll select the name of the supplier. And then I'll select the order that needs to be canceled. Exactly same step. And this is going to trigger this RPA task on my remote machine. As it happens in the production environment, it is going to open Salesforce instance again, log in. And this is where automation failed last time when automation was trying to search for the order number. This time we have turned on generative power-based fallback. So after recorder is not able to work, after the default timeout has lapsed, we are going to use fallback. And as you can see, we were able to successfully automate this use case. We were able to log in and get to that order, cancel it in the system, and eventually we could continue with the business process automation that we had configured. This is how Generative Recorder ensures that all of your cloud applications upgrades can be handled seamlessly. This is how Generative Recorder ensures that any applications which have dynamic elements can still be automated by citizen developers, and all they need to do is just configure resiliency inside the automation. This was first part of the demo. Now what I want to do is I want to also show you the developer experience for Generative Recorder. And before I do that, let me set the data demo data back. So I'll log out from Salesforce because I'm going to rerun the same automation as a developer user again now. So what I'll do is I will check out this automation one more time. And I'm going to run this automation from the private repo of this user. So let's open this. And this time I'm going to run this automation in debug mode so that I also get some additional options that are available to the developers.
Rajendra, as you're doing that, I just want to quickly point out we did launch a poll question. This is actually a poll question that will help with some roadmap development. So please take a minute to select your answers. Even if you're not currently utilizing generative AI, we'd really like to understand what your preference would be.
Sure.
And you can continue on with the demo.
Sure. So this time the developer has run the automation from the private repo. Since the GenAI part fallback is configured, automation will still run fine, but developer is going to get additional visibility this time. So this is where the fallback is going to be used. And as soon as the fallback is used, you can see developer got this additional visibility that on this line, in this automation line number 11, failure was prevented with the help of generative AI part fallback. And developer gets this thing that inside the automation, this is the domex path that you have, but GenAI could use this new domex path, which starts with say input class and all, to successfully automate it. And now developer has this option available that do you want to update this new path that was used for successful automation inside the bot? And now developer has a couple of options. They can stop the automation, they can skip updating and continue the automation. In this case, let us select update value to automatically update this path that we have. I think my video got turned on because of I'm moving this Zoom toolbar.
No worries. And as this is running, just a quick reminder, thank you so much for those of you adding your questions in the Q&A. Please continue to do that. We'll be sure to address them.
Okay, looks like I was clicking elsewhere. So I have updated the automation. Let me do this because since I clicked at other places, what I'll do is I'll go to this Zoom toolbar is hindering my view. So I'll go to line number 11 and we'll see that the path that was used in the event of fallback has been updated inside the automation successfully. And now, as you can notice, that if an automation has say 100 lines or 50 lines and this fallback was needed on say 5 lines or 10 actions, then for all of those 5 to 10 actions, developers are going to get this option to automatically update this new path that was used for successful fallback. And all developer has to do is they have to confirm, do they want to accept the recommendations? And once they do that, this path is automatically updated and they can save it. And we also give this redo undo option so that even if you have accepted the recommendations, you can still have the control once you come back to the editor. So what I'll do is I'll save this automation and now I'll run this again. And I'll run it just like I ran last time. And this time I'll not tinker with the Zoom toolbar because looks like I'm clicking at all the places to move it around. And we'll run the same automation. Oh, I think I'll have to log out from Salesforce. So because I'm going to start with the login screen again. So let me log out. And now let me run it again. Automation is running again. And this time our automation is already updated with the path that GenAI used last time to successfully automate it. And now let us see what happens. We log in into Salesforce. And this is where the fallback was used last time. This time, since the path is already updated, we should not be using any fallback. It should be immediate. Oh, I think there is something wrong here. So failure prevented with generative AI-based fallback. I'll say update value in the automation, but it's not showing up. Okay, so I'll stop it here and I'll just looks like something is wrong because of this Zoom toolbar thing. But what I'll do is I'll stop the screen demo here. And that's how, let me go back to the automation. This is where we were. So that's how it is going to work when we have the GA release. You have all of the places where GenAI-based fallback was used, you are going to get those automatically updated in the product. And then you can just save the automation, done it, and next time fallback will not be needed. A couple of things I want to share before I hand it over to Murali. First of all, what you saw here, all of these pop-ups, they are coming for developer user only. We understand that you might have a question that my automations are running in unattended mode. So there is no one sitting on the remote machine. These pop-ups are going to interfere with the automation. No, that's not going to happen. For all of your production automations, your automations are not going to be impacted. These pop-ups will not be shown. And one thing that we can still look at is the flow of Jake. Let me share my screen again, just to show you the flow of Jake. Let me go back to share screen.
And Rajendra, we are running up against a little bit of time.
Yeah, I'm almost done.
Okay.
I'll just go and show just the audit log entries, that how we can have GenAI-based fallback. Let me just quickly search so that we can directly go to that place. How we are giving visibility into audit log in terms of successful GenAI-based fallback. So you get exact line number where the fallback happened. You get success or failure. If the object name is available, you will get to see the value here. So this is how automation admins and other authorized users can get end-to-end visibility into all of the decisions which are influenced by generative AI. I just wanted to stop here. I know we are a bit over time, Alison, but I wanted to take a moment to give a shout out to some of the community users. So for example, Chand Muhammad, who is our MVP, who has helped test this product end to end and who has helped us with a lot of great feedback, some of which we were able to incorporate into the product. So if possible, Alison, if you can unmute Chand and he can share some feedback, that would be great.
Yeah, Shand, I believe you should be unmuted. Do you want to jump in and just share a few quick words? And for those unaware, Shand is one of our MVPs, so he is pretty amazing and shares a lot of great knowledge in our community. So we do want to take this opportunity to acknowledge him. Shand, are you able to hear us?
Yeah. Hi, Alison.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. So, first of all, thanks for the great opportunity. I had great exploration using the product Rajendra. And I'll just quickly take one example, the recent Chrome changes, which has, halted couple of capture commands failures. But at that time, this was not GA. I was in beta testing. I literally felt if this was there at that time, it would have been a game changer. It's just a button click. And as you explained, when we encounter in production issues, basically the support team or someone who will log into the application and do the debugging, basically it will take a lot of time. The auto update feature, again, it's a game changer, and it's very easy for not only the professional developers and even the citizen developers who are playing around with this. It'll be very easy for them. And secondly, I have personally experienced a couple of CRM applications like Dynamic 365. Majority of the times, if there is a product upgrade in the application, things will break. And it's not that easy for developers to just do the code changes, push it to prod. It'll take a lot of time. If we are specifically in finance or any other verticals, it will take a lot of time and we can't hold on bots to be down for that time. So again, I'm working on a blog. It will come live soon. I'm really thankful for the team for giving the opportunity. And I can't wait to incorporate this in our live projects. Thanks, Alison. Thanks, Rajendra.
Hey, thanks, Chand. You have been of great help. Thank you for your participation in preview. And thanks to all the other community members also who participated in preview.
Yeah, and one call out, if you ever have interest in participating in some betas or previews, please let us know. We'd love to connect you with the product team to have those opportunities. As you can see, that feedback's really helpful. All right, moving right along, we do want to jump into the resilient automation side of this. Rajendra, you have some amazing questions in the Q&A, so if you don't mind jumping in and starting to type some answers, if we have some time at the end, we'll answer a few of those live, but I'd love to get some feedback to those people. Murali, over to you.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Rajendra. Great feature. This will really help our customers to make our automations much more resilient. So let me quickly share my screen and get into the next feature.
And just a quick reminder, thank you to all of you who are answering these poll questions. Again, we do take this feedback very seriously. So please, we'd love to get your feedback on these things. It's very, very helpful as we continue our development path.
All right, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can. You're
Oh,
good to
great,
go.
thanks. Hey, good morning and good evening, everyone. So here I'm going to showcase a feature that helps you troubleshoot your automations much more faster. So thereby actually reducing your downtimes and also free up your developers' time so that they can actually focus on much more important things like building new and exciting automations. As just Rajendra showed, right? So we have some resilient features built in our product that makes our automations much more resilient, like the generative recorder that you have just seen, and the pop-up handler that we already GA'd, that helps our automations resilient to changes to the underlying applications or changes to the underlying environment where these automations are running. But however, from time to time, our automations run into issues, and sometimes these failures are very easy to reproduce and easy to fix, but other times they're not so easy. For example, like sometimes the errors happen only on a specific environment, like production, or the automation actually may fail only on a specific device. And sometimes these failures are intermittent, and not so easy to reproduce, and it takes a lot of time to understand what really the issue there. And as you know, our existing error handler already points out when in case of any error, it tells you exactly which line number the automation actually ran into issues, and also with a brief description of the error message. You can even take a snapshot of the screen when the error occurred to understand what really went wrong. But sometimes this information may not be sufficient to pinpoint the actual root cause of that issue. Because the reason for the failure might have happened because of some other action that was done like a couple of steps earlier. For example, like automation might have clicked on the wrong location in the previous step because the underlying application might have updated, or you might have selected a wrong drop-down option that actually resulted in a totally
Murali, I hate to interrupt you, but it sounds like you are in the distance all of a sudden.
Oh, really?
Oh, there you go. It's better now.
Is it better? Oh, sorry. I think maybe my network issue. Is it better now?
Yes, very much.
Okay. So I'm saying, like, I mean, the reason for the failure might be because the automation might have clicked on a different location because the underlying application got changed, etc. So in order to troubleshoot these kind of issues, right, what our customers are currently doing is they're actually rerunning these automations and literally watching it to fail to understand what's really going on. So to address these kind of pain points, we have introduced this new feature where we actually record the execution of your automation and keep the last 5 minutes of the recording in our cloud. So that way you can actually go back and view this recording and see what really went wrong. So this will tremendously help you understand what was really happening when the automation actually ran into trouble. I know some of you might be worried about the data privacy and protection because you're actually recording the live execution of your automations. So this is very important for us, and we actually encrypt the recording before we store it into our cloud. And only authorized users can actually download this recording from the control room, and we decrypt this file as part of the download process. That way, only authorized users can actually play back these recordings to understand the issue there. So let me quickly show you how this feature works. Let me go to the control room. So here, first of all, let me show you what type of controls we have because as I mentioned, some customers are worried about, because the way it is actually recording the live data, etc. So that is why we have two levels of controls when it comes to this feature here. So one is at the control room level control, means like, for example, like if you wanted to enable only this feature on only in a specific environment like your UAT or dev, but not in prod, you can do that by simply going into our admin settings and by selecting this option here. So that this will give you control on whether you want to enable this particular feature on the given control room. So once you enable it, so there are a couple of configurations you can perform. What should be the default options for you? I have here, like, one is about like, when do you want to keep this recording? Do you want to keep this recording only when the automation actually ran into issues, like it's failed for some reason, or you wanted to keep this recording no matter what, whether it's success or failure? If you want to keep it all, then you can actually select the second option that we have here. And also, you can actually determine how long you want to keep this recording in the cloud. So we can keep up to 30 days by default, and you can actually change it to as like 1 day or 7 days, etc., depending upon your needs. And also the duration of the recording. By default, we keep the last 5 minutes of that recording. This is the maximum that is allowed right now, but you can actually reduce the duration to up to 1 minute. If you think that your automations, you don't need that long of the video, because you wanted to keep the room for more videos, more recordings. So this is the features. This is the some of the configurations that you can perform when you actually enable this feature. Let's save these changes here. So now once you enable this feature, so you have another level of control when it comes to the actual deployment of these automations. Let me go to this automations. Let's try to run an automation. And I have a simple automation here. This particular automation is actually creating the lead information in the Salesforce application by retrieving the details from an Excel application. So here, let's run this particular application. As part of this run now and schedule wizard, this is like how typically you can deploy your automations. Once you select your run as users, we have this tab here under resiliency settings. This is where you see the second level of control here. So as a automation admin, as a developer who is actually deploying this automation, you can decide whether you want to have this recording available, whether you want to keep the recording on for this particular deployment. So that way, even if it is enabled at the control room level, you can still have the control on for which automations you want to run and which automations you don't want to have this feature off. So that is how you can control. By default, whatever the CR level settings were selected, that will be selected by default. But you can actually choose, again, change whether you want to keep the recording only for failed or whether versus all executions here. So that is how we can actually take advantage of this feature when you're actually deploying these automations. This is available both for run now on demand as well as schedule options also. Under this general settings, we also have this new feature where you want to hide the bot runtime window. If you want to do that, you can actually do that. That way you will not see the runtime window when the bot is executing. This is another enhancement that we did based on the customer feedback, because especially for troubleshooting issues, sometimes the resolution is so small on some of our customers' environments, and this runtime window is blocking the majority of the screen, which is hiding some very important information that is critical for troubleshooting that issue. So now you can actually have this option to hide. That way, that window doesn't show up when the bot is actually executing. Let me quickly run this bot here. Let me automation to show how it works. So this, as I mentioned, this will actually bring up the Salesforce application and create a lead information in the system. Okay, this is my Salesforce. If we click on the leads tab and on the new, it's pretty simple automation. Just takes a couple of seconds, so I will let it run. And then, so as you can see, as the automation is actually running, our product actually records the entire screen here. I will show you a sample video how it looks. So it records the entire screen. And what it does is, like, if it is running for longer than 5 minutes and all, we will keep keep the last 5 minutes of that recording as 2 chunks, and then we will concatenate and make the last 5 minutes of that video, and then we will actually encrypt that video and store it in our cloud space. Let me go back to this automation completed successfully. Let me go back to the screen here. So since the concatenation and and uploading process usually takes a couple of minutes to upload, depending upon the speed of the device and speed of your network and all. So let me quickly show you the one which I ran a while ago to show you how it looks. So typically when you open this window, so the very first time, this is a known issue here in 32, because during the upload process, you typically see this error message saying that bot clip is not found. But once the video is available, that message will be updated. Let me go back to the previous executions where I can show you. So once the uploading is available, so this is how this page looks like, and it will tell you how long this file is going to be available depending upon the configuration that you did, how long you want to keep this recording. So right now this was done yesterday, so that's why it says 29 more days before it expires here. Again, we have the RBAC in place to see who can actually download this recording. We are actually piggybacking on the existing RBAC that we have, where you can actually specify who can view the executions, view my executions, or view activity from my folders, or view everyone's activity. That is the role permission model that we have. Using the same permission model, if you have access to the historical activity entry, then you will be able to download that recording. And if you have a permission to manage the activity, then you can actually delete the recording. If you want, after the download, you can have an option to delete this recording. So that way it keeps room for the new recordings. So let me click on the download link here. And let me save this, and this is how I just downloaded. Let me play back this recording. So this is how the video looks like, so as I mentioned here. So this actually records the entire screen here. So this way you can go back and see the execution of that recording and see really what happened when it ran into trouble. I will pause here, and I would like to cover one more thing is about the storage wise. So storage is actually depending upon the number of licenses that you have on the control room that you have enabled this feature. We are actually reserving 100 MB per license depending on the number of partner licenses you have times 100 MB. That is the maximum amount of storage that is actually reserved for these recordings in our cloud. And but we don't enforce it at the user level. We enforce it at the tenant level. That way we even same execution is run multiple times, you will be able to upload the recordings for that automation. And once you reach that limit, then the first in first out basis, we will automatically delete the old recordings to make room for the new recordings. One way to avoid that is like as shown earlier, you can actually delete those recordings from here. So that way you can make more space here. That is all I would like to cover as part of this topic, and I hope it help you troubleshoot these issues faster, because sometimes it's very hard to understand what's really going on unless you really see in action. So this will definitely hopefully help you in that exercise. That's all from me. Thank you.
All right. We have some fabulous questions that I want to make sure we get to live. So if I can have you both stop sharing your screen and come on video, we'll get to those. Again, I appreciate those taking the time to complete those poll questions. These are very, very helpful in us being able to make sure we're building for you and getting the things right that we need to get right. So if you can take just a minute or two to complete them, they should be quick, easy questions to answer. If you have any feedback too, you want to make sure it gets written out, please don't hesitate to add that to the chat. We'll take that and run with that. But with the remaining time, I do want to answer a few of these questions live and make sure we get to them. One other note, I did drop in a special link in our chat. There is a new docs resource that was recently created that provides more insight and clarity on our licensing, on-prem versus cloud. This is going to grow, it's going to evolve. You may see one or two things missing, but I promise they're coming. This is something that's very top of mind that we want to make sure you have absolute clarity on. And also thank you for those of you involved in these sessions, because you're a big reason why this doc is being created. So be sure to bookmark that, check that out. Let us know what other pieces of information would be helpful for that new docs resource. All right, without further ado, let's get answering some of these questions with the time that we have. Rajendra, this one's for you. This is a common question. It relates to what we just talked about. Generative Recorder, is it live for Enterprise Edition, on premise? Is it an additional license required? Can you clarify that for us, please?
Sure, sure. It is going to be available to all of our customers who are on cloud today. So as of A.32, all of our public cloud customers can use it. And as I was sharing earlier, Automator AI is the SKU that you need to use Generative Recorder. That said, we also have Generative Recorder support for on-prem customers in the roadmap, so that can happen in one of the upcoming releases.
All right, perfect. All right, just a quick reminder, I know we have a few people left on this call. I'd love to see that poll question get some more responses. This is really, really helpful information for us. So if we can get some more responses on that poll question, I'd be so appreciative. All right, next question. So to use Gen AI Recorder, a developer needs not to recapture or do anything with the bot, just enable the Gen AI fallback and we're done.
Oh yeah, so for Generative Recorder, we are capturing some of the additional information from design time, for example, anchor information, additional information such as domex paths and all. So you need to use the latest recorder package. So it will be available for all the net new automations that you are going to build from A.32 onwards, as well as for existing automations. But wherever you think that it can use Generative Recorder, you might need to recapture so that we get that additional hook, additional data to provide the fallback.
All right. This is a great question too. I always love these questions because we are intentional with our naming. Can you explain the naming? Why is it generative? What skill is it using? Why call it fallback? Must it fail over to this?
Oh,
So
yeah,
just
yeah.
a bit of comment on that.
Yeah. So generative is because we are using generative AI, we are using live application data. For example, in the event of application changes, we are using the live application source code and we are extracting that source code. We are ensuring that we take only limited part of source code, which is about, say, that particular UI element and its child and parent. And then we further anonymize any business data that is out there. And then we send it to, we craft a prompt and we using few prompt learning, we give it to generative AI. And then from there, we get the fallback information, which we can use to ensure that the fallback works successfully. So there is this definitely a big generative AI element.
Can it look for changed buttons, screens, etc.?
Oh, it can. Just a one small note of caution, and I was typing this response before Murali ended. So, see, we definitely provide fallback, but some of our customers, when we were validating the requirements and all, they wanted to be very clear that if the volume of change is pretty big, then do not attempt fallback. For example, something that was a text box earlier is now changed to a button or a link, then do not attempt fallback. I would far rather experience a failure than automate an incorrect UI element. So what we do is we definitely support this use case, and we also have additional validation layer built in, which means that even if the fallback is working, we want to ensure that it is the right target UI element that user wanted to automate. We are not clicking elsewhere by mistake. So that additional validation layer is there. Yeah.
All right. Can you please provide more details? What differs between the two options? This fallback sounds very promising.
Oh yeah, for native fallback, it's all design time. So right at the time of building the automation, we are capturing additional information, for example, multiple paths of the UI element and all. Those are used for fallback. For generative AI part fallback, we are using live application data so that anything that changes on application, we are working with that changed data, latest and greatest data, and then delivering the fallback. So that's the key difference.
All right. Will the Gen AI feature help with which additional properties to select in case domex path alone is not suitable for automating the application?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So in A.32 release, what we are doing is we are only updating domex path because this is one property which is most critical, which we have found to be most reliable. In one of the upcoming releases on which we are currently working, We are also going to provide additional option where user will be able to see what all additional properties we captured at the time of design, and then user can add, remove, update those property values so that fallback accuracy can be further refined.
All right. And Alicia, I apologize. I'm just seeing your note in the chat that you're not able to see poll questions or Q&As. We have learned that some customers have security blocks on some of the Zoom chats and Q&A. So I'll reach out to you after this and we can do a check. I want to make sure you get this information. We share all these questions, all this feedback. And if you're not able to access that in the future, I can share my email address and make sure you have an avenue to share your feedback and get your questions answered too. So Alicia, I'll be in touch after this session. Apologies, I'm just seeing that. All right. Next question. Can this path you updated be used with wildcard character?
Not automatically. Generative AI will be using one specific path because we want to be sure that it is going to work 100% of the times. Only then we can recommend it to users. Something that may or may not work, there is no point recommending. So wildcard will not be automatically updated, but user can always update inside the automation. Wildcard support is there for these properties.
In your example, Generative AI changed an existing property, the domex. Can it also add or remove properties as needed? We've had cases where we've had to remove properties when web pages have dynamic type properties. And it looked like you were starting to type a response.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we get to that.
Yeah, we just answered another flavor of this question. So it's only domex path that is the most important property that we are automatically updating. Other properties we are not. In one of the upcoming releases which we are building now, users will be able to see all the additional information that we captured at the design and update that information as needed.
All right, perfect. I do have a question for the group. We'll get to this last question as well. Something that we're trying to better understand is how we can make sure to get this information in your hands. This question Alicia just shared sparked for me. Would it be helpful if we shared, emailed recaps to you? Would that be helpful for you after these sessions? Share the recording and the recap via direct email. Can you just add in the chat? I'd like to get a few responses on that if it would be helpful. We try to be cautious with email, but if that's helpful and I get a vote, it looks like I'm getting the vote. I'm happy to make that happen. So thank you guys for that feedback. That's really, really helpful. All right. Is there a confidence factor associated with accuracy? Can we decide day if the accuracy is 90%, do the update? Also, what happens if the Gen AI takes time to give a response back for the query, causing automation to wait for a long time? How is this handled?
Sure. It's a great question again. So first of all, second part of the question is if Gen AI is taking more time, you saw a timeout field. So you can configure that timeout. Oh, I want to wait for say 30 seconds. I want to wait for maximum 60 seconds for the fallback. If it is not able to automate it, then move on. Give me an error or move on. Just run that exception handling flow. The first part is the confidence factor. So as of now, for the automatic update recommendations, we go only with 100% confidence that if Gen AI based fallback is not able to locate the UI element, give an error, but only in the event of this fallback successfully locating the UI element, only then you give this recommendation of automatic update of the domex path inside the automation. So if it is not 100%, just don't do it. Don't automate, give an error. Only when you are 100% sure, give this recommendation to auto update.
All right, perfect. Ooh, it looks like we're getting, we got some great feedback there. All right. Murali, I saw you were answering a few questions and I want to make sure we get a minute to touch on some of the feedback you were sharing. What's one or two points that you saw that you want to make sure to emphasize in the questions that you're answering?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions on the impact on the CPU consumption and all, and also is it available for the cloud or on-prem? So we have documented this information that we typically saw around 10 to 15% time with respect to the execution when this feature is enabled, and we need some additional storage up to I think 2 GB to keep these recordings on the device to buffer the data and then before you upload it. So that information is documented for you. And this feature also requires a new license. This is a part of the enterprise SKU. So it is available as part of that enterprise SKU.
Right. Perfect. Well, thank you to you both so much. This has been a wonderful, informative session. Thank you, everyone, as well for taking the time to answer our poll questions. I did just realize I did forget to do the last poll question, so I am going to launch that as kind of our conclusion, and I'll give everyone a minute as they're logging off to answer that. It is helpful insight for us to understand, and again, I do appreciate you taking the time to complete these poll questions. I cannot underemphasize, every time I share these with the product team, they're so excited. They take that information. Murali, Rajendra, I'm sure you can validate this. You run with it. You're super eager and excited to get it. So again, thank you for taking the time. Thank you, Murali, Rajendra, for sharing your expertise, your knowledge, answering all of these questions. If any questions pop up after the fact, my email, allison.able@automationanywhere.com. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to connect you with both of these leaders again and get some answers that you need so you can get up and running. All right. Thank you everyone so much for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day. And I'm going to give it just another minute. We're going to have that awkward silent moment. But Rajendra, Murali, you're welcome to log off. Thank you again, everyone, for attending today. I really do appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, team. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks everyone for your.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Bye.
Bye. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful evening. Everyone around the world, thank you.